Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 38 of my 100-day project. We only have a couple more days left of pastel. I cannot believe how quickly it's gone by. Today, what I wanted to do, I'm using a piece of mat board that I primed yesterday with the clear Color Fix pastel primer and a few drops of Purple Lake acrylic ink. And I just used my stir stick to apply it. So I get all these kind of random marks and textures, and I'm really enjoying that. When I approached this painting today, I was inspired earlier today by a painting I saw. I was on a call with somebody and they had this really beautiful purpley kind of painting behind them. And it looked like a landscape, but it was very abstract. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be neat if I had a figure, kind of like I've done with oil and cold wax, etc., but with pastel, and it was kind of like there was water in it. So that's what I thought I was going to do. Best laid plans. When I looked at the surface, I did see a landscape in it, amazingly enough, which was great. But the landscape was much more zoomed out than what I had initially planned in my mind. And I really liked it. So I went ahead and went with that. But what that meant was that my figures are a lot smaller than I had initially planned them to be. But yeah, it is what it is. So I'm just going with it. So it's still sort of figurative. There's figures in it. But this is definitely much more landscapey. And the shapes that I saw that made me want to do this as this particular composition was I saw that mountain range in the back and I really liked it. I saw the shape of the water and I saw those clouds and I really liked that. So that's why I kept that. And it just reminds me, I grew up in California and I spent a lot of time on the coast in Northern California and in Southern California. But in Northern California, there's a lot of cliffs and bluffs where you can go and look out over the ocean and see the land. And there's a lot of farmland along the coastline. And it just kind of reminded me of that. So that was a bit of my inspiration. And I put one figure in there, sort of looking out at this view. And then I thought they needed a little one. So I put a little one in there. So there's two of them looking out at the view and holding hands. So that was kind of a fun thing to do. But I ended up taking a break part way through. My daughter got home, so I went to go get her, and then I had dinner, and then I came back. And I have to say, y'all, I appreciate that process. It is hard for me to do a painting from start to finish in one sitting. It's not a skill that I've really honed. And certainly over doing this over 100 days, I'm sure I'll be much better at it than I am right now. Hopefully, I will build that as one of the skills that I gained during this process. But I really do enjoy the opportunity to step away. I can just see more clearly. It gives me a break. A lot of times, it's tiring standing here. And I do fight a little bit with the surface. My camera, as you can tell, it's my phone, is at an angle and it kind of gets in my way because it's vertical next to my piece attached to the table. And so I can't really maneuver the piece the way I might like. And it's taped to the easel. It's not sitting in the tray also the way I might like. So I kind of fight with this a little bit, and being able to step away gives me a chance to take it down, look at it from a distance, move it around, do that sort of a thing. What you saw me do a little while ago is I added some dark kind of periwinkle color to the top of the sky to help bring a little bit of that perspective. Things at the top in your view of a sky are closer, so they're darker and more saturated. Things that are further away are less saturated and usually lighter. So I wanted to bring in that illusion. And I'm adding in a little bit of the water breaking along that distant sort of coastline. I've got this rock shape thing there. I end up changing the color of that. So one of the big decisions I noticed, or big observations I had when I stepped away and came back, I really wanted my figures to pop against this background. So there are several ways you can make that happen. I've got a lot of leading lines that draw your eye to them. That's great. That helps. I've got pure saturated pigment there. That helps. So there's very little color layering in the figures. So that certainly helps. The contrast helps. The blue against the orange, dark against light helps as well. But going back to chroma, or how saturated the color is, something that will really help is to make the things around it less saturated. So I don't know if you could tell, the minute I turned that rock gray, that figure started to pop more, because it was cooler in tone. So that's going to be a contrast to the warmer colors in the figure, but also they're less saturated, which just naturally makes the colors in the figures stand out more. So from here on to the end of the painting, I'm on a mission to desaturate a lot of stuff. As much as I love those clouds, I need to tone them down a bit. They're standing out way too much and taking away from the figures. The figures are so small. I really need them to pop as much as possible. So I'm layering some grays, I'm layering some yellow to neutralize some of that undertone, that purpley color, which is the underpainting. I didn't paint anything over those clouds until now. I'll go in with a little bit more magenta to darken up the bottoms a little bit, but I also toned down the greens in the fields behind, tried to neutralize those a little bit so that the brightness of the figures really, really stood out. And I'll try and get you as close as I can here and still keep it in focus. But there we go. I love all of that underpainting shining through. I almost wish I had left a little bit more. There's a little bit in the water. I wish I would have left a little bit more. And I added a little bit of that orange from their hair into the brownish foreground as well, just to harmonize it a little bit. That's the painting for today. I will see you 2 more days of pastel, and then we're off to oil pastel, which is a whole other thing and one of my favorite mediums. So I'm excited about that. I hope you're doing well. Take care of you, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.